In today's video we'll be looking at using electric, putting it into an instrument rack, constraining it so that when we use the random function we can get some quite decent keyboard, piano tones from electric without too much trouble. You can then tweak them as you want. Let's have a quick listen then to some of the random examples that were generated with it, simply pressing randomize on the rack, and then afterwards we'll look at how the rack is put together and finally how to build this rack for yourselves. The function of the rack and electric are actually quite simple. You just have an instance of electric in an instrument rack here, and I've mapped the various controls here for hammer, fork, damper, pickup. There are various controls here below. I've just mapped them to the macros. This allows you then to change the tone. If you want, you can look down the bottom here to see which tone you're changing. Most importantly though, for the rack is, if we look at the mapping, how it's been constrained. You can, if you just simply map all the controls to the instrument rack here and then start randomizing, you'll get some very aggressive and loud tones. So I've spent quite a lot of time getting these right as best I could, so that when we press the random button we get useful tones. And that's really it. You can just try the random button. You can select here the different type of pickup. That's your choice. That option is open here, and all the rest of the controls, the majority, are mapped to the macro here. To the macros, sorry. Very simple. So these really are just a playground for sound exploration. And this button here allows you to generate random tones. Save any patches you like here. They will then be saved as electric patches. To save the rack itself, you would save that here and it would appear inside your user library under instruments, instrument racks, and you'd find that there. Okay, let's get on to the build. I think that explains a lot more. I've kept the original instrument rack. You find your instrument racks here under instruments, instrument rack here. Just drop one in. Kept my original because it has my labels, electric scramble. Now you'll just need an instance of electric, which you can find here. Drop that in. Turn that off for a second. Then we just need to map very quickly our controls to electric. So we have, in our mapping, we have, in my instance I had the stiffness mapped to E. I then had the noise mapped to L. Then we have down here the force, which I mapped to the next E. The noise here mapped to C. The decay of the noise mapped to T. Now when we click here, just here, you see we go into a new area. It gives us another selection of options. Here I had the time mapped to R, the tone mapped to I, then we have the color here mapped to C, the decay I mapped to S, very simple, the tone I mapped then to C, release here, and the decay I also mapped to the R here. Then we click again here and we have the damper pickup selection. The symmetry I mapped to A. On the M I have the input and also the output, and I'll explain why in a second when we do the constraining. Then we have the B, which is the distance. Finally, we have here the tone, which is on L. This L, I believe. The attack release. We also have on this L. And the level we have on the E. So I made a mistake. This L actually here, the damper tone, that's incorrect. That should be on this one here. That one goes here. So the damper tone here goes to this L, all these letters. Okay, so now we can come to our constraints, which goes very quickly as well. We have here the mallet noise decay, left at 0 to 100. Also the fork time decay, 0 to 100. The volume I reduced on the fork. And a lot of these settings are really to avoid excessive loud tones. You can get some quite sharp tones and excessively loud. So that's why I've made these adjustments. The bar decay I left as it was. Now the amp in and the amp out, they're actually opposing each other, so that as we increase the amp in level, we reduce at the same time the amp out level. So this I set at a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 90%. And the amp out I inverted, so we have the opposite, 90 and 5% here. So as I say, as we increase one, we decrease the other. The mallet noise amount I set at 5 and a maximum of 80. Damper tone remains the same. Damper balance remains the same. The fork tone bar volume I set at the minimum of 25. Often this is just so that we actually hear a tone. Sometimes you get very quiet tones. And the maximum volume at 70. The mallet stiffness is 25 and 90. Drop that down. The mallet force is 30 and 85. I'll leave a screenshot as always for all of these at the end of the video, so you don't, if you didn't want to watch this section, you can just skip to the end and set them up there. So all these values will be at the end of the video. Damper amount I left at 0 to 100. Mallet noise pitch is 30 to 80. Fork release time is the same. The time color I've set to 30 and 100. 25 for the pickup distance. And a maximum of 85. And finally, the pickup symmetry is a maximum of 75. Now, all of these values are from experimentation. I've played around, generated lots of random tones to see which ones work and which ones don't. Okay, so that's everything set up. We come out of here now and randomize. And we try a tone. Let's see what we get. There we go, that's our first tone. Try another one. Okay, everything seems to be working okay. Yeah. These you can adjust. Now I've left it quite ambiguous, just electric scramble. If you want to see the name down here, you just hover above it, you'll see what the macro actually represents, if you forget, which you do quickly. But these ones I thought it's more fun just to literally play around. See what tones you find. Okay, well, thank you for watching again. As always, take care and enjoy your day. Have some fun with this. See how you get on. Goodbye.